welcome to this session of Springdale Today. My name is Mary Jordan, and joining us here today, we have Roselyn Guzman and Keila Ortiz Salinas of Springdale High School. Both were part of a cohort of high school students from the graduating classes of 2025 and 2026 who participated in the National Student Leadership Congress in Washington, D.C. over the summer. The Council for Opportunity in Education hosts the National Student Leadership Congress in Washington, D.C. annually. According to the nonprofit, the 6-day event empowers 150 high school students to address today's societal issues and engage in a mock Congress. Right? Does that sound like about the experience you guys had?
Yes.
Okay, so what class are you guys? Are you the class of 2025 or the class of 2026?
I'm the class of 2025, so I'll be graduating this year.
I'm class 2026, so I graduate next year.
Okay, good. Good for you guys. So what led you guys to get involved with something like the Leadership Congress?
We're both involved in talent search, and I've been in it since the 7th grade. And so I went to talent search, and they talked about this opportunity, and I had received an email saying that I was selected to do an interview. And so I did the interview with Nathan Brown, the organizer of our talent search organization here at Springdale through the University of Arkansas. And then I later got an email saying that I was selected, and it was so exciting. And that's how I got involved.
Yeah, similar to hers, I've been part of talent search since I was in 7th grade. And I didn't get talked about it. I got an email about it, and I was like, oh, seems like a nice opportunity. So I filled it out. I really never thought I'd make it in. And then I got the email saying they wanted to interview us. I was like, oh, an interview. And so I went to the interview. And then a bit later, I got the email saying that I was selected. And I was really excited. I was very happy about it.
Very cool. Now, what is Talent Search?
So Talent Search is a organization that goes, it's a part of TRIO, which is like a part of like Upward Bound, Talent Search, and there's one more.
Yeah, I don't know the other one.
There's one more, but all of these committees are to help like low-income families or students who need a little bit more help, like looking towards college and like the future, help with like getting ready to decide what you want to do, basically. So they do help a lot with like scholarships and like financial planning, and that's like mainly why I got involved in it. And yeah, that's like mainly what they do.
Yeah, that is. Although from what we experienced back in Washington is that's basically what TRIO helps us in. But every person has their own perspective of what TRIO is to them. Because for me, TRIO became like a family that will help me succeed in life and help me find things that I'm good at and push me to do the best I can. What about you, Roselyn? What is TRIO to you?
TRIO definitely empowered me. For like the longest time, I didn't know what I wanted to do in the future just because of where I was at financially, and it didn't really seem like there was a lot of options. But TRIO definitely gave me confidence in my ability to succeed and who I am as a person. And like now, I'm decided that I will be going to college, and I'm looking into like scholarship opportunities, and I'm trying my hardest in school. And like I don't know where I would be right now without TRIO.
That's pretty exciting. Thank you for sharing that with me. Now, help me understand, what is a Student Leadership Congress? What exactly is that experience entail?
That experience can be a lot of things, but to me, that entails like going somewhere or meeting up with like a lot of leaders. Although I was really scared at the beginning because as leaders, we tend to clash because we want to be the leader. We want to be the one. But there, it was like, we learned how to listen to each other and not always have to be the leader. It was a really fun experience. We learned from each other in this Leadership Congress. And to me, it entails like learning from each other and gaining advice and experience from each other in order to make our leadership skills better.
Right. So like kind of like a mock Congress or I should say a mock trial, when they do something like that, there's a scenario that's put in place and you have to problem solve or work through it. Did you do anything like that as part of the Congress?
Yes.
So we were, with all the students that came, we were all organized into separate groups of people from all throughout the nation, all throughout the U.S., and even people from different countries. And we all came together to pick a side on one debate that's been going on. So, like, for example, my group, we talked about the debate of a 40-hour versus a 32-hour work week. And we chose, we'd spent a whole day researching both sides and another day of picking what side we wanted to be on and making a presentation to present our bill towards all these students, preparing for questions and different debates and people trying to get our bill out. And that's really a lot what we spent on being in these groups and putting together an argument.
What were your conversations about, Keila?
Our conversations, my topic was about whether the Congress should be able to decide college tuitions. And we decided that we shouldn't on it for many reasons, because we looked on both sides. Like Roselyn said, we spent an entire day researching and looking deeply into it. And slowly we started making like pros and cons lists. And then slowly we came to our argument of why we shouldn't. And we spent most of our time doing that, making the presentation. And then at the end, our final day, before like our big ceremony, we presented everything to everybody who was there.
And so would you guys say your arguments for or against either way was a success?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we went for a 32-hour work week. And the biggest part of it, preparing our argument, was really looking at like our pros and cons and being prepared for all the questions refuting our argument. And so like the most important part was it was 2 minutes. We have a 3-minute presentation and 2 minutes just for people looking for flaws or mistakes or things that our bill may not have talked about. And I think for me, our group did amazing. And we really prepared for every scenario, every possibility. And that's why I say it was a success. We really looked at both sides and our pros and cons and really tried to fight every mistake that might have happened with our bill.
Yeah, for me, I say ours was also a success. We did a competition at the end and neither of our groups ended up winning, but I feel like our success was mainly in being able to do it on our own. We had no help from the counselors that we had. It was mainly just the students doing it. And we put out our argument. We prepared for anything that we could come with. We prepared for questions. We prepared for any flaws. We prepared for everything. And overall, we did great. And I feel like that's the thing that mattered for us, for our success.
It sounds like it was a really cool experience. Are you guys taking any classes at Springdale High School as well that kind of might have sparked your interest in participating in something like this?
Well, I am not really taking any classes like debates or anything. I know a lot of people in Law Academy, we have Law Academy at Springdale, have like mock trials and everything, and I've always been interested in things like that. I just wasn't able to be in Law Academy because, well, there's just so much else. But I have watched like the mock trials, and I've always enjoyed seeing like my personal interest, like watching shows about it or listening to I listen to podcasts about like investigative journalism and about like these different sides of like politics. And so I think that really like sparked my interest for like a mock Congress.
To me, it was more of a just curiosity kind of thing. I'm more into like the engineering side of things. But I remember seeing it and I was like, that seems like something I would like to do. And I do like watching mock trials, like she says. I tend to listen to podcasts, especially like crime podcasts. And it's always been pretty fun. So I was just like, I think I'm going to give it a shot.
I have to admit, I've got a few crime podcasts under my belt. So have you guys ever been to Washington, D.C. before? Was this your first time?
Our first time.
What was that experience like for you?
It was very interesting. I feel like it was a lot of fun. I think the only thing that really had us worried was the metro system. Because I remember our counselors were like, you have to stick together. You have so much time. And you have to make sure everything's quickly done because you'll get stuck in the metro. Mm-hmm. And then we had to go looking for you. And that little thing kind of sparked a little fear in us.
Everybody make it where they need to go, okay? You didn't lose anybody along the route? The class didn't get smaller as you went along?
No, but there were a couple groups that like got lost. But at least everyone made it back. But for me, it was my first time as well. And it was definitely a lot of fun. I've never traveled that far from home before. it was both of our first times being on a plane.
Oh yeah.
And in the subway system at all. And like we were with each other like the entire time because we were both from here, and so we were together from the airport to getting there and the way back, and it was definitely like a very eye-opening to see like all of these this whole different city, like being from here in Arkansas, like it's not really like much like history as in Washington D.C. is like it being the capital and everything, and just being able to see all of these different types of like public transportation and things that you don't usually see here, it was very, very eye-opening.
Did you guys know each other prior to traveling to the Student Leadership Congress? No? Wow, so you got a lot of time to get to know each other.
Yeah, like we the first time we met was we did like a little orientation it was at the University of Arkansas. Yeah. It was at U of A, and there we did like a little like meeting. I arrived late because I was coming from a choir concert, but I met them. But the first time we actually started talking was at the airport when they were like, "Oh, well, you guys will be traveling alone, so good luck and stick to each other." And but we got to be really close. We were actually roommates.
Yeah,
and it just so happened to be that we were put together. So me and her were around each other a lot.
Very cool. I'm glad to hear that. That's one more wonderful thing that came out of this, right, is a new friendship. So what stood out to you guys as being particularly challenging about this experience, you think?
For me, it was more of the social anxiety, because it was going to be a lot of people, and then I didn't know we were going to be separated into groups. And so we got there, we were all in this hall, and they were like, okay, we're going to split you up to groups. And so in my head, I was like, don't tell me I'm going to be separated. And I was so scared. And then my name got called out, but no one else's did. So I was like, oh no. And I was very scared. I didn't want to talk to anyone. But then slowly I started getting comfortable with my group. And that's when I started talking. And it felt like I was in a different home, basically.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Did you have anything that stood out to you as something you had to kind of grow through or was particularly challenging for you?
So while being there, definitely the social aspect was very frightening at first. But aside from that, like one thing I found challenging was being in our mock Congress groups. As I said, like we had to decide like two sides. And the biggest thing my group went through was trying to decide between a 40-hour or 32. And as she mentioned a little bit earlier, was as leaders, like we always want to like take charge. And being in this group of very like strong, like beautiful minded people, we were like, it was in between like half and half of which one to do. And we spent a long time, but throughout that whole process, we all learned of like more of being able to listen to each other. And learning that like you may not always be right, and that's like one really big thing that like we had a challenge with there, but overcame in the end, and ended up being great because I was initially on a 40-hour work week, and we ended up going to a 32-hour work week, and ended up being the best decision for our group. And I think that was like one thing that I had overcome.
Now, is there anything about the experience that you genuinely weren't anticipating that you took away from it?
About the experience, probably all the stuff I learned. I've been in leadership stuff for a long time, and I've like truly thought like I didn't have much to learn. But being with these people and learning from them, their experiences and their leadership, it was like there's still a lot to learn than just what I know already.
One thing I didn't anticipate is like how close I would become with like the other students. So we were there, and these groups that we were put into, our mock Congress groups, we were with each other the entire time. Like all the trips we went to, when we went to the National Mall, even when we were working on mock Congress, we were with these groups, and I'm still in touch with all of them to this day. I remember the last day, it was full of emotion of all of these kids. Like, we have a little dance at the end of the whole week just to like celebrate, like, we did it. And we were there, and it was like time to say like goodbye. People were gonna go back to their dorms and pack, and people were gonna be leaving like right at like 3-4 in the morning. And it was full of tears, everyone crying, everyone saying goodbye, because, well, we grew so close and we may never get to see these people again. And that was definitely like one thing I didn't anticipate, was how like important these people would become to me. And yeah, I'm still in contact with them to this day.
So what's next for you guys? What are your plans after high school, or have you made any plans for after high school yet?
After high school, I'm still trying to look for college. I was settled on the U of A, but we had a college fair the other day. And like there's 2 other colleges that also sparked my interest. And so now I'm like fighting between the 3. But I want to go to college. I want to do chemical engineering and then major in that and focus on that for what I want to do.
Why chemical engineering?
Ever since 7th grade, when we started doing like photosynthesis, the chemical aspect of it just seemed very interesting to me. And then last year, I took a chemistry class, my first chemistry class, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was very fun to me. Then for science fair, I also did a chemical related aspect to it, and I got a pretty high position in it. I felt very proud of myself. And I'm taking another chemistry class this year, and I think that's what I want to do.
Well, I'm glad you had the opportunity to explore that. And it sounds like you started exploring it even in elementary school. So I'm glad you got to kind of fill that out as you progressed through the schools and kind of figure out what your passion might be. What about you? What do you have planned for after high school, Roselyn?
I've always loved working with people. I've always loved like helping others and talking to people. So for the longest time, I wanted to be a teacher. But I think I still want to take that teaching aspect and put it into business. So I think I want to go into business and communications and go into business management and hopefully try to work with some companies around here and be a representative and hopefully do something like an SLC and talk to others and collaborate and look for different ideas for whatever company I decide to work with. And I think that's what I'll continue doing.
Very good. And thank you. I'm so glad to hear that part of your plan is coming back to Northwest Arkansas, because we wouldn't want to lose you from our community, either one of you guys. Right. So we've talked about a lot today. Is there anything that I haven't touched on that you guys think is important to mention or you wanted to share today?
For me, I guess, is to just take in mind the leaders around you and to make sure to listen to everybody. Not only that, but to also never take for granted the relationships you have with people. Because like what Roselyn said, I made close bonds with these people. And honestly, that last day, it felt like it was a heartbreaking moment for me, knowing that I probably wouldn't ever see them again.
I would really see the same thing. It's just look at everyone that surrounds you, even like the quieter people, and be outgoing, bring the best out of everyone, because being there, the people that weren't talking as much or were a bit more conservative, they ended up being one of the most bright, outgoing people that you've ever met, and people I never expected to talk to ended up being someone that I'm still talking to to today. And it's just never judge a book based off of their cover, and always give everyone a chance. I think that's the most important thing.
All right. Well, thank you both for sharing your story with us today. I'm really grateful, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do in the future. I'm sure it's going to be exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, welcome to this session of Springdale Today. My name is Mary Jordan. We're going to be talking about recent and upcoming development and construction projects within the district. Joining us today is Support Services Director Jeremy White, as well as Springdale Athletic Foundation Executive Director Donald Tucker. Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
I think, before we start, I think a really important conversation to have is kind of what the relationship is between the Athletic Foundation and the district when it comes to development of our properties. What can you tell me about that?
Well, one of the things that we've identified early on is that we have to improve the district. And athletics is one of the first things people see when they move into the district or come to visit the district. And nobody wants to pay more taxes to pay for new facilities and that kind of stuff. So the relationship between the foundation and the school district has kind of been, it's really been fantastic for that, because we can improve facilities, the growth, add to it, make it better, and not tax taxpayers more money who nobody wants to pay that. So that's kind of where the relationship started, and we've just kind of taken the ball and ran with it since then.
Okay, and then how does that kind of speak into the Foundation's mission as far as supporting our families and student athletes?
Yeah, so early on, our mission has always been to support district athletics. And so it was a great step for us to be able to, for instance, add video boards and facilities and turf and equipment and stuff like that, because all of that stuff filters down to support the kids and make it a better experience for them and give them something to be proud of.
Okay. And then does it make a difference in really making some projects a reality, Jeremy?
It does. The foundation is very important to the district. They get a lot of input from the students and the families and bring that input to us, and they also help with the funding of the projects.
Okay.
And like Donald said, Dr. Cleveland, he's kind of created a little team, and Donald and I get to meet every Monday and kind of go over current projects and upcoming projects to try to keep all the needs of the students kind of fulfilled and keep a consistency across the district.
So it sounds like there's a lot going on then, right? So what's the value in developing our properties, our schools, and our buildings for the district, and about how much have we invested in that in recent years? So
in the last 4 years, we've had several major facility upgrades, and we've spent about $170 million in the last 4 years, and that's state partnership funding, some insurance claims that we've had for tornado and hail damage, and then district funds. Those have really been for new construction at Springdale High School, Central, Southwest, George Elementary, and then we've had 18 elementaries that had pretty significant hail damage we've had to replace and repair roofs.
And so that sounds like you did all that without a millage increase?
Correct. Yeah, we use the state partnership programs a lot. And like I said, on the hail damage and the tornado damage, we worked with our insurance company and received money from them.
All right. And what can you tell me about recent projects? I know there's a lot, but some of the larger recent projects that the district has just finished or is kind of finishing up at the time, right now.
So, Central Junior High, we've pretty much replaced most of that building. We did remodel portions of it. So it's a 3-phase project. We've finished phase 1 and actually moved the students in over spring break. And then phase 2 is under construction now. The plan is to move into that over Thanksgiving break. And then we'll start phase 3, which is remodeling some of the existing spaces that we kept, and that'll complete about April of 25, and that'll complete that project. Southwest Junior High, we did a similar, pretty much a replacement there, a little bit of remodel in the existing gym and locker rooms, and that one, we actually moved into that in August, and then phase 2 over there is actually, we demoed down the existing building, and then we're putting in a new parking lot in the front, and we should get that about Christmas break. And then Springdale High School, we demoed out the 900, the flat building, and the auxiliary gym that were from the 50s, and we built in a new arena and new educational space there. We moved into that in February of 24, and then started in on facility upgrades. So we had some tennis courts that needed replaced. They had some damage from drainage, and put new turf in the multi-purpose field, new turf on the football field, and expanded that field about 21 feet to the east, and added a little bit of footage to the north and the south. And those just finished up in August. And so we're doing the punch list there on that. And the final big project we're working on is George Elementary. We had tornado damage a few years ago. So we added a gymnasium, and then we actually added a cafeteria, music room, and then converted their kitchen, changed the orientation of that. And then their old cafeteria, made that into a media center with a stage, and then added a few classrooms up in the front, and then a new office addition on the very front. So that's our major projects that we've been working on.
I'm just impressed that you're pulling it all out of your head. Like I brought notes, but you're just pulling it out of your head. Now,
That's a lot.
it is a lot.
Yeah.
But Donald, did the foundation as well, as I understand, they kind of contributed to some of the development of some of these spaces as well.
They
Is that
did.
true?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So basically what we do, supporting athletics, but we also support the district. So we do that by raising money with private donors, sponsorships. One of the first things we did was we had to get video boards. And video boards, of all the things that the district and the foundation will be spending money on, is one of the few things that give money back. Everything else is pretty much an expense. Video boards we can sell advertising on, we can generate money, which helps fund all of the stuff that we need to help pay for. So, the foundation supplements and supports the district athletics. And so we use those funds to everything from facilities to uniforms, to helmets, to cleats, to basketballs, to soccer. I mean, across the board, which that's a lot because Springdale Public Schools is the largest district in the state of Arkansas. So there's a lot of needs there and a lot of wants that we have to try to help support to make effective for the district to do their job.
Right. And then for the different schools, the larger ones where we've had redesigned gymnasiums and things of that nature, which facilities did you actually help put video boards or scoreboards into?
Yeah. So both campuses at HAR-BER High School and at Springdale High School, we put video boards at the football fields, at each football field, at each soccer field, each softball field, each baseball field, and inside the basketball arenas. So when we did this initially, we wanted to have the largest at each venue in the state of Arkansas high school public sports. So we did that. And so we also got the highest resolution. So we weren't just throwing up video boards. Like there's a lot of time and effort that went into it. I think there's 11 companies that we interviewed and talked to, and Jeremy, was here in our office. So we're having conversations and meetings with these people, but we went out to find the very best product with the best company we could possibly get, just to help the district put their best, the best foot forward for athletics. Like I talked about earlier, is we want to make sure that when people come here and people stay here, that they're proud of what we have, and we're proud of what we've done so far.
Well, the spaces are beautiful. Now, so Donald, you talked a little bit about the why. Jeremy, why does the district choose to invest development dollars and time in some of the spaces that we're directing our efforts toward right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, we always work on a 10-year master plan, and that's pretty much to keep our facilities up to date, keep systems up to date, because that need changes, with technology and everything, and that's really our vision and Dr. Cleveland's is to keep the best facilities possible for the students, for their learning, and so that's what we're always looking for, is just to keep the facilities as nice and as up to date as possible.
Does investing in those athletic spaces, does that contribute to student athlete development or student education in a way that is kind of factored into it as well?
It does. One of the things that I talk about a lot is that whether it's classrooms, schools, or athletic facilities, those are the things people see first, right? So people that move it into Northwest Arkansas, everybody buys with your eyes first, whether it's food or car or homes or clothes or significant others, whatever. The visual is the first selling piece. And so when they move into the district or come to Northwest Arkansas and they tour our facilities, they see this and they have to be blown away, because we get one shot at keeping people here, and we also get one shot at bringing people here. And so it's important for the district and the Athletic Foundation to keep making improvements to schools, to athletic facilities, because people will see that before they see ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, right? So they're gonna see these facilities and these schools, and we have to lure them in with that, and then they can delve into the details and fall in love with the teachers and the administrators and what we're actually accomplishing that you don't get to see that's under the surface. So it's important. It's important keeping the kids here that want to be proud of it, and they want to be part of something amazing. And it's also important to bring in more people here that are moving into the area every month.
So it sounds like it's opening up some doors and some conversation.
It really is.
So the buildings are beautiful, they're bright, they're well lit, they're open. What's some of the feedback you've received from staff and students that are learning and competing in some of those spaces, Jeremy?
So the newer new construction that we've just finished up and are in the process of finishing, we've had great feedback from staff and students and even parents that have came into these facilities and looked. They love all the technology, the floor plans. A lot of these new buildings are open, have a lot of natural light in them. They're just a lot more modern than what they had before. And, some of the staff and the students, it was hard. It was a challenge during the construction phase because, we had construction going with school going, and trying to keep a separation between all of that was challenging. But now they're getting to see, it was worth it going through that. Now they're in nice new buildings, and so we have had great feedback on all of those.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So, okay, so you're checking the boxes on those big projects. What's coming up for the district as far as what they're working on now or upcoming projects?
Mm-hmm. So I've been here 23 years, and we always have 5 to 6 pretty big projects at all times. So the next projects, we're working to design and coming up with a design to repurpose some of the recently purchased properties, which is the Lock building that's over on the Springdale High School campus, and then also the ASP building, or the after-school building, that's over off of 48th Street. We're in the early design phases of that. Just once we get that design phase kind of completed, then we can start the estimating phase, and then that will set our timeline on when we could start and have a finished date.
And is that too being done without a millage increase?
Yes. Yeah, we're looking at ways we can self-fund these projects.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Donald, what about you? What's the Athletic Foundation working on as far as projects?
Yeah, so one of the first things that I guess the next phase for us is building championship walls at our baseball and softball facilities. We'll work with Jeremy's department and oversee that. And so we want to upgrade the athletic facilities as we can as we're going forward. And I think that's probably the next stage for us is adding championship walls, which is basically the same kind of outfield walls and fencing they have at Baum Stadium for the Razorbacks. So we'll do that at both campuses at Springdale and at HAR-BER for softball and for baseball. We'll do that. We're looking at the facilities, adding the new indoor facilities for HAR-BER and for Springdale. They're property that the district owns. So we're starting those phases, those conversations to get going to do those as well. So it's kind of, there's no, you're treading water and you're swimming as fast as you can. And then so when there's a new project like that, you're looking for the next bit of land that you can get on and start establishing facilities at. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're just, I guess they say no rest for the wicked. So you're basically hurrying to get to the next deal, but those are on the horizon. Those are the next two things that we're looking at.
Those are some of the projects that we have on the 10-year master plan. They're farther out than some of the than some of the others. We kind of work, it's a 10-year master plan, but we work off 4-year. The first 4 years is really what we work off of. But we do have a lot of projects like that on the 10-year master plan, and we're always working to develop the floor plans and renderings for those projects. That helps us take it out into the public so they can see kind of what our vision is, and then we try to gain the funding and stuff to be able to start those projects.
Well, I've thought of everything I possibly think to ask. Is there anything that you guys would like to mention or you think is relevant to the conversation to share today?
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff from our side of the table, the foundation side of the table, is we do all of these things without taxpayer dollars. So that's important for us because, I know there was a decrease in millage this last year, and so we're adding a lot of stuff, and so nobody wants to pay more in taxes, and I certainly don't either. And so we understand that. And so a lot of the stuff we're doing it through the foundation athletically, because we don't want to ask taxpayers to raise money or to spend their money on athletic facilities. So we go after donors, we go after those conversations with the families that are here, the businesses that we're building community partnerships with, to help do those things so we're not putting more burden on the community, tax-wise. So those are the things that we do on our side. And we're, like I said, the whole purpose of the foundation is to help supplement the district and Jeremy's department to make sure that we're making it better tomorrow than it was yesterday.
If someone was interested in reaching out to you, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way is to go to our website, which is the SpringdaleAthleticFoundation.org. They can go there. They can contact us. They can email us. They can find out a little bit more about us, what's going on and what we do, and then be a part of it, because we're always looking for people to help us row the boat downstream, so to speak.
Well, it's a big district, so it's a big boat.
It really is. Yeah, it really is.
Jeremy, what about you? Anything I haven't thought to discuss that you think is relevant to the conversation?
I think you've covered pretty much everything. It does take a lot of work to keep up with the district that's the size of our district. And we work on that every day, just keeping everything up, and then work on that 10-year master plan to help get funding from the state and on future projects. So we do spend a lot of time on that, just looking down for the future projects.
All right, awesome. Thank you both for everything you shared with us. Thank you for everything you're doing in support of our staff and families. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Well, see you next time on Springdale Today.
Springdale Today is a production of the Springdale Public Schools Communications Office.
The podcast is hosted by Mary Jordan and is produced and edited by Micah DeLacy.
Be sure to subscribe to Springdale Today for free on your favorite podcast platform.
And don't forget to follow Springdale Today on social media for episode updates
And behind-the-scenes conversations.
Thank you for listening. We hope you join us in the future as we continue to learn about the amazing stories happening in Springdale today.